Is the world famous Ecks, soon to be. What's your full name, Ecks?
Eckley Harrison
Tool.
Tour.
Tour. Okay, cool. And where are you from originally?
I was born just outside of Philadelphia in a little town called Norristown, Pennsylvania.
My grandma's from Pennsylvania too. Yeah. So, when did you come to the West?
When I was a senior in high school in 1958.
Wow. For what reason did you go west?
Family.
Family?
Yeah, it was. My dad got an incredible promotion from his position at that time. He was made an assistant office manager for a major world corporation, and he had to move to Los Angeles.
What was it called?
Burroughs Business Machines.
Cool.
Now called Unisys Incorporated.
Really? So it morphed over time.
Yeah, the company changed. It incorporated with other companies and absorbed other companies, and eventually it became known as Unisys. And they have computer divisions and bank check note printing houses, and they own their own paper companies.
Any brothers or sisters?
No.
You were only child?
Of an only child.
Pardon?
Of an only child. My father was an only child.
Now, tell me the story about your father in the grade house. You said that you had the same teacher.
Yeah, when he was a senior in high school, he was assigned to a new classroom in the small town in which they lived, and a new teacher took over, and her name was Espenshade.
Espenshade.
Yeah, Miss Espenshade. And when I started high school in the same high school, that was my homeroom teacher, was Miss Espenshade. And she proceeded to tell me, she said, your father was no good and you won't be either. And that was as much explanation as I got for 3 years. She was not the kindest lady in the world to know. And then come to find out that the church that we went to, she was also the head of the women's class in the church. So my mother had to put up with her. We saw her every Sunday. I couldn't get away from the woman. 7 days a week I had to put up with her. It was horrible. And so when my dad moved west, I was a very happy camper. I was finally rid of Miss. For my 20th high school reunion, and she was the class sponsor. She had retired but had come back as an advisor to other teachers, and there she was again.
There's got to be a special place in purgatory for those kind of people.
Yeah, I just hope I don't. If I go to purgatory, I hope I don't meet her again. It would be just too cruel a fate.
So what did you do professionally?
I was a truck driver for 45 years. Cross country, hauled violent chemicals, flammables. You probably have a wonderful repertoire of jokes then, don't you? Not really, because I hardly ever turned my CB on or anything like that.
You kept to yourself.
And because of the type of materials I was hauling, I didn't fraternize in truck stops and things of that nature. I stayed away from those places.
Right.
Because I was hauling a lot of the materials I hauled were military fuels, and they went to military facilities and things of that nature. So
probably had to keep secret about where they were and what they were.
What it was that I was hauling. It just said flammable on the cans, and that's all that mattered.
So how did you lose your arm?
Misdiagnosis in a hospital.
Really? What?
I have cancer. It's got a very, very weird name. It's called infectious fasciitis, and it's a cancer that eats from the bone outward, rather than being a surface type cancer that they can detect. And radiation just accelerates it. Well, they radiated my hand and arm when they first detected, and all that did was expand the cancer cells and just promote their growth. And they had to amputate the arm to save it from going up into my upper body and thorax. Because once you get past your shoulder, they can't amputate the rest of your body, So
it could have been worse.
Well,
could have killed you.
It's terminal to begin with.
Yeah.
Once you've got it, it never goes away. And there's a possibility now that it's in my left leg, and they may have to amputate the leg, which would be kind of an awkward situation, having no left leg and no right arm. Why it would make for difficult.
Where do you live now?
On the street.
Yeah.
in my wheelchair.
How long has that been true?
7 years.
7 years? And what's been your reaction of people? How have people treated you?
80 to 90% of the people are, they may not show it from a standpoint of, oh, you poor dear type thing, sympathy, but they all seem to be sympathetic to the fact that, you know, that this is a terminal illness, and it's very limited. There's probably only 50 to 60 cases in the whole United States that are known about, and the problem has always been that there's been no cure. There's no medication, there's no cure. Radiology just accelerates it.
You said you're a veteran in the Coast Guard, correct?
Yes, I was in the Coast Guard.
Did you go to veterans' homes or anything? Or
I'm not qualified.
Hospital? Why not?
Because when I was in the Coast Guard in the 50s, it was a civil service agency. It was not a government agency. It was a division of the Treasury Department, and it was not considered military in those days. So, at a later time and date...
Bureaucratic bullshit, then.
Basically. The Washington runaround. But it is now all part of... Since 9/11, it is now part of what is called... the government has a real fancy name for it. It's Homeland Security Systems, and the Coast Guard is now under the auspices of Homeland Security. So it is during wartime or during any form of interdiction that requires movement outside the continental United States marine limits, it is then part of the military.
Were you ever married or
Yes.
family?
No family.
Well, just a wife you got.
Wife, yep, 5 years. Lovely lady. She lives right here in San Diego and is a very, very top-ranking official in the United States Navy at North Island Naval Air Station. She's the director of procurement for the North Island Naval Air Station. So if an aircraft carrier comes in off fleet and has to be replenished, she's in charge of the people that restock it, resupply it, check it, do this, do that. And you take something like an aircraft carrier with a complement of 5,000 and an air wing of another 1,000 people, you're talking lots of food, lots of supplies, lots of medication, lots of this, lots of that. And she's in charge of that, the facility.
What was the happiest time in your life?
The happiest times? When I almost became a professional motorcycle racer until my accident.
Wow.
That was the happiest time in my life because I was young, carefree, I wasn't married, and I was almost at the top of my rank in my motorcycle.
My grandpa came to his first church on a belly of a Harley Davidson, 1919.
Nice motorcycle. Love to have that now. But no, I had motorcycles for years and years, and when I quit racing because of the knee injuries, the shattered knees, when I felt that it was no longer to my best interest, then I started riding street bikes, and I rode on the highways for years and years and years. No accidents, no injuries. So I felt rather graced with goodness when it came to riding motorcycles on the street and traffic and everything.
Right.
And then finally, with when the knees got to the point where I was not comfortable even riding on the street, then that was the end of the motorcycle part of my life.
So was the diagnosis with cancer the worst, or what was the worst time?
Well, it certainly wasn't the most pleasant thing that I've ever heard from medical professionals, telling me that you've got a terminal type of cancer and there's nothing we can do about it. We have no known medication, and radiology and all the other things that they do for cancer just accelerate.
I want your opinion on something. The China study studied 1 million people, and when they're on a Western-based diet, a meat-based diet, all of the diseases, including the cancers, proliferated. When they went back to more of a plant-based diet, they all disappeared, or at least went into remission.
Yeah.
What was your diet up to this point? Just typical American?
Any and everything I wanted to eat.
Right.
I love everything, and it would be, I was I was not pro just meat. I loved my vegetables, my salads, especially steamed fresh vegetables of all kinds. But I was never a heavy bread eater to any great degree. Cakes and pies were a treat on occasion, but I wasn't.
You were always thin, correct? Or
I was 100 pounds heavier than I am now. I was up to 261. At
were
one
you?
point.
Uh-huh.
But it was all solid. There
Right,
was no,
right.
no flab anywhere. But during the last year, I've lost over 100 pounds. But I feel okay. Other than the loss of
What do
my
you
arm.
consider a blessing in your life?
The fact that I'm still alive at 73 years of age and can converse with people. And
Your mind's still good.
it seems to be working pretty doggone decent.
Well, you're a heck of a guy,
Thank you, sir.
and let's do this again when there's a little better light. I think
Okay.
you're a little bit in the shade right now,
Yeah, I am in the shade.
and you've been interviewed by this maybe great nephew of Sundance Kid, so probably a shady character anyway.
Well, that sounds good to me.
We have any objection if this goes to YouTube or the London Festival or
No,
known throughout the world?
not at all.
Maybe I'll prove your teacher wrong. You have amounted to something. You're quite a guy.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for your compliment.
God bless you. What'd you just say?
I said, there is a God, and although some people do not believe in it, there definitely is a much higher power, and without His grace and so forth, we wouldn't be here.
Well, that's a beautiful statement, and God has blessed you
Well,
because you've been a blessing to me. I know that.
thank you, sir, for your compliments.
Take care.